Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs, and today I'm sharing with you one more Easter Bunny head wreath. This one is in a beautiful rustic country farmhouse vibe, and I use some different techniques on this one, so this tutorial may enlighten you as to how to take a simple bunny head wire wreath frame and turn it into something so lovely for your home. I love this one, and I hope you do as well. Welcome to all to my channel today, and if you are not currently a subscriber, I hope you'll enjoy this tutorial and consider becoming one. Leave me your comments, tell me what you think of this bunny head wreath, and give this video a thumbs up if you like the content. Okay, let me show you how I created this beautiful Easter wreath. I have here the bunny head wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. Now it is green when you see it at the Dollar Tree, but I sprayed mine with white spray paint. And I have a collection of burlap here. I have 3 rolls of this burlap, which I purchased at Wal Mart. I'm going to be using about 2.5 rolls of this burlap, and it's very reasonably priced at Walmart. I have here some Easter ribbons that sorry, that's my dog playing with her toy. She always finds a way to get into my videos. Sorry about that. I have these 3 burlap ribbons that I used on a previous farmhouse style wreath. And I'm going to be using those again today to make my ribbon bundles. I had purchased those, I believe, on Amazon last year. But Amazon has lots of ribbons, so that's a great source to go to, craftoutlet.com, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. That ribbon there with the white bunnies on it, so pretty. I got that in the Easter department at Walmart. And I always say to you all, don't neglect checking out the Easter department at Walmart, because they do have a little section in the Easter focus department that has craft items for crafting for holidays. I have here a big collection of florals. I'm going to be using, I'm not really sure which of those I'm going to be using, but I like to collect my florals prior to starting my project. And as it turned out, I only used the white flowers that is in that right next to that wire cutter there. So I do have wire cutters, scissors, hot glue gun, Aleene's tacky glue. I have a ruler there to measure out my ribbons. And I'm going to be cutting my burlap and my wired Easter ribbons. That one's particularly cute with the bunnies with the long ears. Very cute and very kind of country, rustic, farmhouse-ish type of vibe. I just cut my sections of burlap and my ribbons in 8-inch pieces. Now, for every bundle, I use 1 piece of burlap on the bottom and 1 of the ribbons on the top. And I do rotate my pattern, so I'm going to use that bunny ribbon for this bundle. I do dovetail the ends. And for each end of the burlap, I just kind of pull off a few strands of the burlap so I can get kind of a frayed look. Now, I did start out by dovetailing. You saw me do that there, but I changed my mind about that. For the whole entire rest of the wreath, I just pulled off a few strands just to get a little bit of that stringy burlappy look. And I've dovetailed the ribbons on top. Now we're going to be creating 24 ribbon bundles that's going to go around the head of that bunny. And that will provide a pretty solid coverage on that bunny head wreath frame if you use 24 bundles. They're going to be mounted. Oh my goodness, my dog. I'm sorry. I'm going to be mounting those ribbons on the center wire of that wreath frame. And I'm just going to fill that up. Next time, next bundle, I'm going to use that ribbon. And then the next time, I'm going to use that buffalo check ribbon. So I'm going to proceed to create all of my ribbon bundles. I do use the same color pipe cleaner as my burlap. And here we have that bunny head wreath frame. I'm going to show you how I just very simply mount my ribbon bundle on the center wire. I press it down firmly to the wire, turn it over, pull it tightly, and give it a twist. And that's as simple as that to create the head of the bunny. And I'm going to rotate my bundles so that I spread out the different types of ribbons. And I'm going to go ahead and fill up that wreath frame. Now, for the ears, I am going to cover those with burlap, which I will be showing you in a bit. And I have my bundles of, my ribbon bundles all ready to go, my ribbon and burlap bundles. And I just covered the entire head of that wreath frame. And it is such a pretty application. So, so pretty. I really love different styles of wreaths. And this, to me, is kind of country. It's kind of rustic. It's kind of farmhouse. To me, it will go with any of those particular vibes. I still had one roll of burlap left over. So I showed you there. So I ended up only using, I believe it was like 1 3/4. But I am going to be using some of the leftover pieces to be wrapping around the ears. Now, I used about 1 3/4 for all of the bundles, but I do believe I end up opening up that last roll to create the ears of the bunny. I have here a selection of narrow ribbons, all very pretty ones in burlaps, polka dots, pinks. There's a lacy one in there, and I have this really cute heart button that I picked up at Wal Mart in the sewing department, and I'm going to put that right in the center of my bow. I'm going to be doing a kind of a scrappy ribbon bow that's going to be placed on top of one of my bows that I normally make. So I am going to go ahead and make that bow now. I have about a 6-inch tail, and I'm using my buffalo check on the bottom for the bottom tier of my bow. So I want to say my loops are around 8 to 9 inches, and I'm using the typical method that I use to create bows. I just fold over my loops, pinch it in the center, twist it, and then fold over the loops. Everything I do on this bow, I just pinch it right in the center. And before I fold over the loop, I twist the ribbon so I have the right side up. If you would like to see a detailed tutorial on how I create my bows, look on my playlist. I have a number of videos from the most simple all the way up to the more advanced level bow making. Okay, so I have 2 loops on each side, or 4 loops altogether, for my base layer, which is that beautiful burlap buffalo check. Very pretty. Okay, now I've got this ribbon last year, but they do still have it at Hobby Lobby. And I noticed that the flowers on the ribbon goes very well with that one wired ribbon that I used in the ribbon bundles. And so I decided to play on the colors of that and pick up the colors in that peeks through in those ribbon bundles on the head of the bunny. And I'm going to create another 4-loop bow exactly the same way. Twist my ribbon, fold over my loops, catch it in the middle, secure it with my index finger and my thumb. Now this is going to be the second layer or the second tier of my mixed ribbon bow. Now what I'm going to be doing after I secure this with a pipe cleaner, those two bows are going to be attached together. Then next up, I'm going to make, I guess I've heard it called a scrappy bow, but what it is just a collection of narrow ribbons and laces. And I just crisscross them, tie them together, and create kind of a messy, kind of scrappy bow. And this turns out super cute. Wait till you see. Okay. So I'm showing you here, I have all these ribbons. Now I mixed it up. Some pinks, some whites, some different types of burlap. And I even included a burlap and white twisted twine in there. So that's going to look so super cute. Wait till you see how cute this is. And I want to say that my pieces of ribbon were around 7 inches. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut my pieces of ribbon. And I want 2 pieces per spool. And I'm going to be alternating the colors and the patterns so I get a nice, a nice look to my bow. Now I'm going to start stacking those. I'm just going to do it right in my hand. And I just crisscross them. Where you see my thumb is where the crisscross is, or the X. And again, I mix it all up so I have varied textures and varied colors and varied patterns. And I have quite a mixture of ribbons in this little messy bow or scrappy bow. I guess it got its name from ribbon scraps, I presume. Not really sure, but that's my assumption. So after I get done stacking this all up, I am going to put a pipe cleaner around it to secure all of that together. And then I am going to tie around that burlap and white twisted twine. It's going to look so pretty. And then I am going to put that really super cute heart-shaped heart-shaped button that I got at Wal Mart. Wait till you see how cute this looks. There's the pipe cleaner. Bring it around the back, twist it. So now all those ribbons are secure. Give it a twist. And there's the twine that I mentioned. I just bring that around, and I'm going to tie a nice loopy bow with that twine, which adds even more visual interest to that messy bow. And then I am going to just simply hot glue that button. Now, if your wreath is going to be outside, I always say add tacky glue if you're concerned about, extreme weather elements, if it's very hot or very cold. You can always add a little bit of tacky glue. I like Aleene's tacky glue. Anywhere that you add hot glue. For me, this particular wreath is not going to be outside, so I'm not concerned about it. But again, I always say, if you are, use some type of tacky glue so that you're not worried about any of the elements of your wreath loosening or falling off. And there we have that super, super cute bow and that beautiful button. It's kind of a wood, sort of a rusticy finish. Oh, it's super cute. I really like it. And I didn't want to paint it or anything. I liked it just the way it was. Now I'm going to hot glue that right to the bow after I secure those 2 bows together with the pipe cleaner. That's going to be hot glued. And I just press that down. Make sure my twine bow loops are in order there. And this creates such a really cute element to this wreath. Now I did go around and finish up the ends of my ribbons a bit. I actually angled them a little bit. I certainly wasn't going to dovetail narrow ribbons like that. Okay, so now I am putting those two bow layers together by simply wrapping the pipe cleaners from the floral ribbon around the back of the buffalo check bow there. Now I ended up not having much of a tail to adhere that and wrap it around the wreath frame, so I ended up just adding a full-size pipe cleaner in the back, and I took those pipe cleaners and twisted around the full-size pipe cleaner so that I would be able to have something to wrap around the wreath wires. And then I'm just going to hot glue my messy bow right to the center. Again, if you prefer, you can add a little bit of tacky glue, but I think this is just fine to just glue this. Now for the tails of my bigger bows there, I did angle those. Look how cute that is. Okay, on to these ears. So I pushed my ribbon bundles up out of the way. Now, as I said in my last video, you can do the ears first if you like. Now, I'm just going to take 2 pieces of that full-size burlap as it comes on that roll, and I'm just going to wrap it around the ears. I'm just going to be creating kind of a base burlap ear. And then you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap some strips of much thinner burlap around it to create like a nice design or a nice texture to the ear. But before I do that, I have to fill it in and wrap these pieces around the ears of that wreath frame. Now I'm just simply going to use hot glue to adhere these. These do not have to be perfect because, as I just mentioned, I am going to be further wrapping some thin strips of burlap. And I can tell you what I'm doing right now. I am searching for my finger protector because when it comes to burlap and hot glue, I don't play around. I make sure I have my finger protector on because I've been burned many times. You could pick these up at the Dollar Tree. Almost always you'll be able to find them there. One of the best protections for your fingers when it comes to hot gluing. I use that often. Now I'm going to do all of my gluing on the back side. Now I started off by gluing a little bit on the top portion of that ear frame, but then I decided, why am I doing that? Because I really don't need to. And so I just turned it over and glued it on the back. Now you all, when I do my projects, often I am just kind of flying by the seat of my crafting pants, if you will, because I haven't made many of these projects that you see me make. I'm doing them for the first time and figuring out things as I go along right before your eyes. But because I've been crafting for such a long time, I have a lot of confidence once I get started. So, occasionally you'll see me make a mistake, and I'll always tell you about it because I don't care how long you've been crafting. We all make mistakes. So on the back side here, I'm going to do my gluing, and you can be sure that I keep that finger protector on the whole time I do these ears. So I'm going to be using 2 of the full width pieces of burlap on each ear. Then for the end, I'm just going to be using a smaller piece, and I'm just kind of fold it over the tip of that ear. Now if you keep your glue on the back side, then you don't have to worry about anything unsightly on the front side. Not that you're going to get that kind of effect because burlap and hot glue are work pretty well together, and you don't get too much of any kind of anything that looks unsightly with glue globs or anything like that. Now you'll notice on the back of my wreath, it is one big pipe cleaner hot mess. Good grief, do I need to go and clean all that up? So I'm going to be snipping off all of those pipe cleaner ends where I put my ribbon bundles on. And then I'll just push down the sharp points of the pipe cleaners. I'll just push them back down into the wreath so that I don't scratch any surface wherever the wreath is going to be resting. And you can see I'm using my finger protector there, helping me to press down that burlap into that hot glue so I can put the bunny ears together. What would we do without hot glue? I'm trying to remember back in the days when I didn't have hot glue, what in the world did I do? But anyway, I'm continuing to create this bunny ear by wrapping my burlap around and using my hot glue. Now I'm going to take another piece. I can overlap it a little bit. It doesn't matter. This does not have to be perfection. Don't worry about how it's going on. You just want a solid piece of burlap going across the ear on the front. Doesn't matter if you can see the seams of the burlap, because as I mentioned, I'm going to be cutting strips of this burlap, and I'm going to create kind of a crisscross design across the ear, and you will never notice any of those seams because it's going to be creating kind of a, I don't know, a messy burlap look. I guess you could call it that. Now the end is the tip of the ear, a little bit trickier, but we have hot glue, so that's going to be our savior here. Just try and shape your burlap around the tip of the ear as best you can, and glue it to the ear, the tip of the ear. Okay, now, so for the strips, I folded the burlap that came off of that roll in half, cut it in half. Then I took the halves and cut those in half. And now I have these strips, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around with no real rhyme or reason. I'm just kind of wrapping it one direction, then I'm going to take another piece and wrap it another direction, and you see what I mean by that. Everything is secured on the back of the ear with the hot glue. And this is going to create a really cute look for the front of the ear. Now there's layer number one. Now I'm going to take one more piece, and I'm going to secure it on the back, and I'm going to wrap it the other direction. Let me show you what I mean by that here. See how I'm going, approaching from the opposite side now? And see how it's crisscrossing? And there, like I said, there's no real pattern to this. It's just wrapping and kind of creating a kind of a messy burlap look. And it turns out super cute. However I'm describing it, it actually does turn out really, really cute. Okay, and then that's the idea. And you're going to do exactly the same thing with the other ear. Adhering everything down that you need to with your hot glue, with your finger protector on. Now later on, after those ears are all finished, you see what I mean about that kind of messy look? I think it looks super cute on here. Then I'm going to continue what my thought there. I'm going to just bend the ears a little bit because that's the beauty of wire. And I go around the ears after I'm all finished, make sure everything is all tacked down and the line of the ear is smooth. And that's all there is to it, creating those burlap ears of that bunny. And there I'm pointing out, boy, do I need to go around and clean up the back of that wreath. Look how cute that looks. Now you get what I mean about the kind of messy crisscross look of that ear. Now the only other thing we're going to do here on this wreath, of course, we're going to create a loop with a full-size pipe cleaner, and that's going to be attached to the wreath frame in between the ears so you can hang the bunny. Of course, we're going to clean up the back of that wreath as I mentioned, snipping off those excess pipe cleaners. And I'm going to attach my bow by reaching through those ribbon bundles. I'm going to place my bow around 11 o'clock on that wreath frame. Then the only other thing I'm going to do to this piece is I'm going to add some little white flowers on each side of the bow. I'm showing you, that's the full size of the burlap. Then I cut that in half to create those strips. I'm just showing you there. And then I don't have to fold that in half. I just take my scissors and cut that piece in half, and then I get those smaller strips. That's how I got the strips for the ears. And here we have those strips all applied. Just kind of randomly wrapping them around. And I applied the bow, reaching through the ribbon bundles for a wreath wire underneath, and I just twisted the pipe cleaners around the wreath wire. Now I am going to add a couple of my favorite flowers from Hobby Lobby. They're white. I have two, I want to say medium size, and two a little bit smaller. I'm not going to add any other flowers. These are my absolute favorite. I always pick some up. Every other week, they're 40% off. I use them on a lot of my projects. Absolutely adore these. They're so lifelike, so realistic looking. And I think they're really especially pretty for this piece that looks very kind of farmhouse, country, rustic sort of. I can't put my finger on which one because it kind of suits all of those vibes. So I'm just going to stick the couple in on each side of the bow, and then I'll just take a hot glue gun and adhere them. And then we'll just adhere right to all that burlap going on inside of that wreath. And there you have it, this beautiful bunny head wreath. And I love this one. I think it's just turned out so pretty. And I used a pipe cleaner, the same color as the burlap I mentioned before. And I just apply it to the wreath wire between the ears on the back. Anywhere that you're concerned about using hot glue only, you can use Aleene's Techie Glue along with it. And that will create that extra stability that you may be seeking. And here we have it. This beautiful bunny head wreath in a completely different style than the previous one I did, the white one with all the pretty flowers. So I hope you feel inspired to make one. This is super, super simple to make these ribbon bundles, create a bow, and stick a couple of flowers in there and wrap the ears. It's that easy. Okay, until next time. You all take care.